Alright guys, welcome back to another video here on the Dividend Show on YouTube, and I am bringing you straight into the portfolio this week. We're going to talk about how things went this week. Obviously, if you've watched any of my prior videos for the last couple weeks, this week was an exceptionally red week for the portfolio. We are sitting at $593,625, and that is after doing a pretty significant buy for me this week. So I will go over what the buys were, but first thing we're going to do is dive straight into the weekly results. You can see we earned a tiny smidge of dividends coming in this week that'll go forward. That should come in sometime in the next month. However, we were in the red, $16,803.84. Now, if you follow any of the stocks that are in my portfolio, a large chunk of that came from VST and AbbVie being down this week, as well. In general, most of the sectors, all of the sectors actually in my portfolio, are red for the week. This week was a very rough week. You can see real estate got hit relatively hard, industrials, finance, the Como Money Pie got hit relatively hard. Utilities, VST was down pretty significantly this week, and AbbVie was down pretty significantly as well in healthcare. So when we dive into this and we take a look, you can see it wasn't just AbbVie though, it was also Johnson & Johnson being down this week. However, AbbVie took the huge brunt because that's where most money is in this sector pie. However, do I think it's going to keep going down? I'm not 100% sure on that. I'm not sure that the news on AbbVie is as detrimental as I think the market overreaction was for that stock. However, VST has been fluctuating up above 19 and down to 17 for months now, and I don't think they're really going to stabilize that much until we get into the new year and see kind of what 2022 is really going to look like for them. I'm really not that worried about it at all. We're just going to keep going on and on and on and keep putting money into the market. Red weeks, in my opinion, are the best weeks to throw money at the market. A lot of people try to time the market. I generally don't. I try to buy consistently every week, and you see that in all of my buys. SCHD was down a little bit. Berkshire Hathaway a little bit less. Obviously, I do want more dividend growth in this portfolio, so I'm a little bit more focused on SCHD right now. You'll see that with the buys this week. That's a sneak preview. Energy was down slightly. Just about everything was consistently down 2% or more, except consumer. Mo was down a little bit at the end of this week, so I did go ahead and do a little buy of Mo. Their dividend X date is coming up here right around the corner, so I want to make sure I got that in so that we get that beautiful dividend. You can see it was barely up on Friday. However, overall for the week it was down just under 1%. So looking into that, if there's anything in particular that y'all are interested in or want to see, you can see industrials. 3M got hit really hard this week. We can go over that, but I'm going to dive right into the buys. So on Friday, I went ahead and did a buy order for SCHD and Altria. I split the buy order and added a little bit of dividends that I had sitting in from the week into SCHD directly. This ended up buying 13.48 shares. So that's a pretty nice addition to the stock for me. And then Altria, it ended up buying 19.65 shares. And then we had one more buy earlier in the week. That was just a pure dividend buy. That was $48 that went in, almost bought a share. That's like what, 0.6? Yeah, 0.63 of a share of SCHD. So I was already planning on buying and spending the dividends to roll into SCHD just to build that position up significantly. I want to get that leveled off at somewhere around 100,000 before I go back to buying a bit of individual stocks. Ideally, I want to take it up to like 500,000 and just leave it there before we go to retirement. So like sometime within the next 10 years when we retire early, we're looking to retire about 10 years or more, probably beyond the normal. I think the normal is like 64 years old in America, which we're going to try to retire by 50. So that gives us a little over 10 years to do that because we're in our 30s right now. So a grand total, though, one thing I wanted to make sure I mentioned, with the stock purchases made this amount into SCHD and Altria, I want to try to talk about what the forward income gain is going to be for the portfolio when I do buys like this. So in this particular case, SCHD, this position with the buy early in the week and this $1,000.29 buy, that's going to equal out to $30.90 of forward dividend yield for 2022. Now, they're likely going to do a raise in there as well. So this is the conservative number for SCHD. However, the Mo number, they just did a raise, and that starts on this particular payment. So this likely won't see a raise until around this time of year in 2022. But that is $70.74. The yield is significantly higher on Altria. It is also a much riskier purchase. So there's a chance that this $1,000 could depreciate some. It could go down a little bit in a market correction. Mo isn't exactly it's a decent purchase right now, but it isn't exactly a stable, diversified position like SCHD is. So I just want to be very clear on that while it is getting twice the yield, it is a riskier position for the capital. I think that they'll be able to pay the dividend just fine for the next few years for sure, and I'm not too concerned with that at all. But it does come out to a grand total of $101.64, and that is the conservative estimate for forward income for 2022. Now, that is pretty wild. That is an average of about 5% if you were to add up all of the money that I put in here. That's because of the high yield of Altria, and the combination of SCHD and its growth over time will even push that further up. So I just wanted to be really clear about talking about this because it's sometimes hard to see what you're buying with your money and the future income. And $100 is enough in yearly income that could pay a small bill for someone, such as that's getting close to paying like a Disney subscription per year, stuff like that. So if I was to equate this out on micro goal investing, I would say that that's probably close to a week's worth of lunches or something like that if you were to go eat out conservatively. But all in all, most people are going to see that and be, well, I invested $2,000, I'm only getting 101. Well, that's going to grow, and on top of that, you're hopefully going to be getting that 101 for 10 to 20 to 30 more years. That's where it starts to really work, is when the compounding takes effect and you're growing that every year. And obviously next year, if it grows at a conservative rate of say 7%, that's going to make it $109. $109 is a significant jump in just 1 year. So if it consistently keeps going up, then that 109 is going to become 118. Then it's going to go to 130, so on and so forth. And the compounding snowball really begins to take effect there. So overall, I want to leave you with that positive message of make sure that you understand what you're buying, the compounding, the risks of it, and I want to know what you're buying, what you're up to. We've had a pretty amazing year already. And, even with this quarter being negative now due to the past 2 weeks of market gains being negative, we can still see that we've gained $5,600 in just dividends in this past quarter. So it's absolutely keeping focused that we are going to see market corrections. There's not always going to be green days every single day of the week. Try to get those buy orders in on those big red days, especially if you have a stock that you've got your eyes on, or you're just doing consistent investing with something like SCHD, SPY-G, QQQ, anything like that. When you see those red days, if you've got the money sitting there, go ahead and smack it in there, get it working for you. I believe the estimate for the portfolio right now is sitting somewhere, let's see. We are at just over $22,687 right now in forward income. And that is from both this position as well as the Tencent fund. So when I talk about that income, that's the yield is relatively low, primarily because Tencent pays a fraction of a percent for their dividend, and they only pay it once a year. So they are growing that dividend, which is fantastic. But in all, it does bring down the weight of the M1 portfolio when I combine these two portfolios together. So even with the market decrease this past week, it's still sitting at $1,031,000. And I'm pretty happy about that. I'm thinking that Tencent will probably start to rebound a little bit, especially as the news kind of changes overall. But being in the red, $16,000 in a week, you've probably heard me say this before, but it's very hard to be excited about investing when you have such a red week. You have consistent red days back to back. And you have to get that back into your head that you're looking at the overall growth, the dividends coming in. You have to keep it all into perspective. And as you can see here, the market gain on this portfolio is still over $100,000, which is pretty phenomenal for just 2 years. And the earned dividends is absolutely amazing at $30,000. And those two things factored gives me a little bit of a boost going into next week, and I'm going to keep buying. As I get the money, you'll see it roll into the portfolio, and that's just how it works. You just keep buying no matter what, and as long as you've got the income to do so, it's absolutely fantastic to keep building and going forward. Every little chunk that you buy is going to add more to that future earned dividends, and it's just going to keep growing and growing the snowball. So I do want to thank everyone who has liked, commented, subscribed. We just crossed the 1,000 subscriber mark this past week, and I am absolutely just floored at that. If you guys have any questions for me, or you want to talk about what you bought this week, leave me a comment down below, and let's continue this snowball effect and build more financial security for the future. I thank you all for listening, and have a great rest of your week.